Hey, everybody. So, here's a video to help you all to get ahead so that you can review. I expect for you to use your resources. I'm sitting here at night working on a video for you. All right, so I need for you to get your spiral notebooks, open them to page 2 and 3. Top line, you're going to write standard 2, finding the theme of any text. Finding the theme of any text. All right. Excuse me. Your learning target. You all will be able to determine the theme of a text by analyzing the details and how it is developed over the course of the text. So we know development means how something builds. So you're going to be looking at the character development. You're going to be looking at the things that the author has done, the techniques, the literary strategies, so you can understand the meaning of the whole story. And at the end of that, you all will be providing me with, weekly objective summary for the text. And this will be something that we do every week, objective summary every week until your writing improves. All right, so go ahead and jot some of this down. I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to go through it. You all know you can pause it and then replay it. All right, so what is the theme and why is it important? We all know this. The theme is the moral, the message, the lesson that is learned in the text, right? Theme is also the underlining meaning of the text. It is the lesson. It is the moral. It is not the topic. Not the topic. The topic is a subject. For example, in Romeo and Juliet, one of the topics that was presented is love. One of the topics that is presented in that text is secrecy. It is a complete statement. So, if I were to ask you, what is the theme of, let's say, the story of an hour, and you were to say something like sickness, is sickness a topic, or is it the moral? It's a topic. It's a noun. Yes, topics, subjects, they are nouns, okay? But I need a complete idea, a complete statement about that topic. Just like major and minor details, we have major and minor themes. Um, and a theme can be stated or it can be implied. Stated is when you come right out and say it. Implied is when you have to infer, is when we have to break something down. We're breaking down the text. We're looking at how everything connects so that we can have a meaning. All right. So over here to the right, where you see the major themes that are in text. It's the idea that the author keeps returning to over and over and over again. For example, if we were to look at Romeo and Juliet, what is an idea that was presented in that text? Well, let's think about a motif. One of the motifs that we saw from the beginning and the middle and the end was basically fighting. It was warring families. We saw that in the beginning. We saw that in the middle. We saw that in the end. Warring families. That's our topic. Now, what was Shakespeare saying about families at war, or how family rivalries affects families? That is the lesson. All right, so we also have minor themes. Minor themes, they are the ideas that are presented periodically within the text. It's not something that we see over and over and over again. We may see something here, we may see something there. Go ahead at any time, pause the video so that you can take down these notes. I'm going to keep going forward, okay? All right, so let's recap. A theme is not a topic, a theme makes a statement or expresses an opinion on that topic. Again, for example, in Romeo and Juliet, Shakespeare addresses the topic of adolescence and love. What do we learn about the adolescents? What do we learn about you young people who are in love? The lessons that we learn the about adolescents falling in love is a theme. Kennedy Kelly said in class today that one of the lessons that we learned from adolescents who fall in love is they rebel against wisdom. Great idea, great theme. We see that. These lessons help us to learn more about the world and about ourselves. This is why I love English. We can read something and we can find out how the world works. We can find out what other people think without even having a conversation with them. All right? You do not have to write this down because these are already in your notes. So once you get to this slide, just review it and then keep listening. So, how do we find a theme? What did I tell you at the beginning of the year? Find the protagonist or a complex character and you follow them from beginning to end. What did they learn? What did Odysseus learn about himself? What did he learn about society? What did he learn about friendships? What did he learn about leaderships? That is our theme. And we have to look at the conversations. What are the conversations telling us about life? We are looking at the word choice. When I'm talking about word choices, I'm talking about the words that the author is using. We're looking at the connotations. We're looking at the denotations. We're looking at the tone. We're sensing the mood. We're trying to look at it figuratively. Did they mean this figuratively? Did they mean this literally? If they meant it literally, well, what are they saying? So yes, it requires a lot of thinking. It's English. It's school. It's life. You got to learn how to think critically. All right. So, are there any thoughts that are repeating? Again, we're looking to see what ideas keep repeating. What are the actions and events that we see in the story and what do these things tell us? Again, pause, write it down, come back. All right. So, we read the story Ripe Figs, right? Y'all remember this story? Sure you do. And we know ripe basically it means a time when something is ready to be picked and eaten, right? And figs are fruit. So I analyzed this text and this is what I did. I just broke it down. What's the topic that I see? Well, I see time. And then I looked at the characters. I look at my main Nine and Babette. Well, what is the symbols? Do we have any symbols? We did. The ripening of the figs. The ripening of the figs means when something comes to fruition or at a certain time something happened. So then we look at Babette, right? She's young, like a lot of you all. She's impatient. Then we look at my main name. She's older. She's the grandmother, the godmother. Well, what did she do? She was patient and because she was patient, she understood the power of waiting, something that Babette uh, couldn't understand, as we saw in the text, especially in paragraph 4, where she kept going and checking on the fruit day after day, and she would get discouraged, right? All right, so after I analyzed it, I asked myself, well, what are some things that I see? Well, I followed Babette. Eventually Babette got to go to her relative's house, right? So good things come to those who wait. That's one thing, and I know you've heard this. Or eagerness and youthfulness are at the heart of every child. We see that with Babette. Another thing we see maturity comes with time. Now we see the last theme in my main name. And I have textual evidence to go back and support that, as do you. Now, what do we do with our theme? Well, We're going to write an objective summary. And again, our objective facts only. I don't want your opinion. I want you to tell me uh, what does the text say, okay? We know that we can use somebody, wanted to, but so then to help us with our summary, right? Our sentence. Somebody, Babette, what did she want to do? She wanted to visit a relative. But what? She had to wait to the ripening of the figs, which symbolized what? A She had to wait to a certain time. So she waited until the ripening of the figs, and then what happened? Then after the figs ripened, she was able to go and visit her relatives. If you're not familiar with that, you all know the five W's and the H: who, what, when, where, why, how. Here's the thing with the five W's and the H, and I only have four up here, but you already know. Um, you're not going to use these in chronological order, okay? So you're going to have to keep asking yourself as you read, who is this about? What did they do? When did this happen? So you're going to have to really, really question yourself. And I should see all of this written down in your annotations or typed out in your annotations. Here is my objective summary. Make sure you pay attention to this because this is how I want yours to be written. I'm just going to ask you to pause it, read it, look it over with your summary template, and you will see I've done everything that's required. Okay? Now, let's recap because now I got an assignment for you. Recap. What is the topic or the big idea of your text? If you don't know the topic, if you don't know the central idea, there's no way that you can come up with the theme. Um, Look at the characters. What do they say? What do they do? How do all of these things relate to the topic? What do all of these things tell you about life, and why? What lesson can we learn about the importance of life? Remember, theme will never completely explain the story. It will not. It will tell us about a lesson that we've learned within the text. Your summary will give us an overview of the whole text. And included in your summary is your theme statement. Okay? Summary, overview of the whole text. Included in the summary is your theme statement. Um, yes, a literary work can have more than one thing. It's all about proving that you're right, okay? It's all about proving that you're right. And of course, if you cannot remember that, follow the protagonist or a complex character. If you followed the nurse in Romeo and Juliet, you would learn something through her conflicts, her struggles, her conversations with other characters. And um, remember, it is a significant statement about life, about humanity, about the human condition. That is what a theme is. Here is your task. You're going to read it, you're going to analyze the text at the story of an hour. It is already in your Google, classroom. It's under essays. It's the very first thing that you come to. I want you to underline key ideas in red, highlight any unknown words in the margin. If you're doing this on paper and you know in Google Classroom, you're going to define it in the comments, right? This is something new. You're going to make your observations about the character. What did you notice about the character? What did you wonder about the character? What did you notice about the setting? What did you wonder? What questions do you have? What conflicts do you have? What other literary elements did you notice? Highlight in orange any juxtapositions, any contrast, anything that repeats, any motifs, any shifts. And in green, you're going to generate a theme. And 75 words, you're going to type that at the bottom. Once you finish that, you're going to do your objective summary. Guess what, you all? I'm done. All right, have a good night.